might be fitting to talk about the gifts that we've all been given since yesterday was Christmas. And I'm sure that you all got a lot of gifts yesterday for Christmas. But what we're going to talk about this morning is the gifts that you have been given because you are created by God. We all have gifts. We've all been given gifts. And when we can open up that gift, you know, like the one you had yesterday, that you got your gift yesterday under the tree or from your friend or family, and you open up your gift, so often that gift comes with instructions, doesn't it? I got a gift this week of an air fryer. And holy moly, I've been reading the instructions on that all week long.
Get used to it. Yeah.
When I finally get around to knowing all about it, I'm going to cook on it. But so often, you know, we have instructions with our gifts. And it's no different with the gifts that we have been given by our Creator. Each and every one of us have been born with an incredible gift. It's a gift for most of us that we were never told about. We didn't get the instructions. We got the gift, but we didn't get the instructions. We lived most of our lives, especially the age that most of us are here, we live most of our lives not knowing of this gift or being given instructions about how to use this gift. It was a very new understanding for those of us that were born about the time this gift was discovered. Science discovered this gift I'm talking about in 1945. I was 6 years old in 1945. It was very new at the time. It was not very well accepted at the time. It was not given much credence. Many scientists actually gave it no attention. One of those scientists that gave it no attention was Albert Einstein. He was a brilliant scientist. He was in fact a genius. And he did not acknowledge the discovery of the gift we've all been given for several years. You see, he was the one who discovered and hypothesized the theory of relativity, which simply means that it is a belief that gravity attracts objects to one another by bending and warping space. And that was his philosophy, and he was not going to change it. That new science at the time, in 45, who came out, is one you and I talk about many Sundays a month here, the quantum mechanics, or the quantum field. And it includes the powers that were discovered at that time that we have all been given to shape our world, our personal world and the world around us. And when we do, we have to do it consciously and intentionally. So of course, even though Einstein didn't give it much credit, he did study it. But he studied it with a lot of doubt and a lot of argument at first. However, over time, the more he studied, the more he came to understand and believe this new discovery, and even to teach it and to live from it. One of his most famous quotes that came from his understanding of the theory of quantum physics was, and I know you've heard this quote many times, but he said, there are two ways to live your life. One as though nothing is a miracle, and the other as though everything is a miracle. And as for me, I choose to see everything as a miracle. The more he understood and learned about this universal law and worked with it, he loved it. he realized that all the things we call miracles are just part of this law of physics, and they do look miraculous and feel miraculous, and yet he's saying we all have it. We all have that capability. We've all been given the power of being one of those miracle workers, and in fact, it's more than a gift we've been given. It's the very essence of who we were created to be. We were created to be creators. And you and I have talked about this many times. We find it in chapter 1 of Genesis, verse 26, when we are told that we are made in the image and the likeness of that which created us. And the first 25 verses that lead up to that 26th verse are 25 verses of what God created. And then on verse 26, we find out we were given the same creative powers. So now that we know more about it, we read more about it, it's more out there in science, but it's also out there in places like Unity and Science of Mind and other places that we're learning about how this creativity works. We began to be more in tune with the fact that we have that same creativity. You know, in our mind, when you talk about the word creative, don't we typically go to being an artist, or being a sculptor, or a singer, or an actor, or whatever that a poet, that's where our mind goes, that creativity. And so we think, well, you know, Clementina, our friend Clementina is she's very artistic. She's got creative talent, but we don't think of us being creative, but we all are. And so this is what we really want to understand is that the gift that we've all been given is the gift of creativity. And like I said, when you have been given a gift, you have to read the instructions. So not only are we going to talk about our ability to be creative today, we're going to talk about the instructions that come with it so that we learn how to use it consciously and intentionally in our favor. And the good news is that we get to actually create our entire life. You get to create your entire life. Isn't that cool? We weren't raised to think that. We were raised to think we were victims of what's going on out here around us. We get to choose, and we get to create. You know, we see it in small babies. Do you all ever watch those babies on YouTube? I tell you, they're so cute and so funny and so creative and so they're just so smart at such an early age. But we do see that creative mind in little babies, and we see how little ones are capable of developing their own skills from the day that they're born to the day that we all die. We have that ability to learn how to create certain things in our life. Babies learn to sit up and to crawl and to walk and to talk and to argue and to you see that baby that talks to his mother and says, "Listen to me, Linda." I think we played it one day here. The cutest little kid you ever saw, about 3 years old, arguing with his mom. But we learn to make creativity work for us, but in an unconscious way mostly. When we were little, we were not conscious of our ability to even go beyond what we were doing based on our growing up, and to really become creative in a way that most of us were not taught to do. So how do we use this gift we've been given? We do have instructions. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Because first of all, I want to remind you that this creativity is always, always, always at work. Always. So we have to be mindful of the creative capabilities that we have in a conscious way. Because when we use it unconsciously, we use it unconsciously in ways like our negative thinking, our negative speaking. Because negativity begets more negativity. Positivity begets more positivity. So we want to always be sure and be paying attention to how we consciously unwrap and use these gifts that we've been given, so that these creative gifts we've been given work for us, not against us. Because this creativity that's born in us is always at work. It's never not at work. It's always at work. So how are we going to work it? How are we going to use it? Are we going to use it consciously to make more good happen in our lives? Or are we going to walk around with negative thoughts, which are going to draw to us more negative thoughts? We're going to walk around with fear, and we're going to get more fear. So we have to, the first thing we do with this gift, we realize we have it, and the power that we have with it is to consciously and intentionally use it in a way that is for our good. Because if we're unconscious, we can use it to our destruction. Because we're always creating moment to moment, always. So how do I want to create my life? Now, we've talked about this before. It's not that life doesn't deal us some pain and some ugliness sometimes that we know good well we didn't ask for. So it's not always about we cause such things. Life will happen. But what we can be aware of and what we can do intentionally is decide and choose how we deal with it. How am I going to deal with what life deals with? Because I have choices about that. I can deal with it positively, or I can deal with it negatively. And so one of our instructions, if you will, on this gift that we've been given is to become conscious of how we're using it, and that we're using it to our benefit and to our good and to the good of the greater world. It is called integrity. It's like when we're integrity with our own understanding and our own positivity, we take it out into the world, and we make the world a better place as well. It could be nothing more than smiling and greeting the person who's checking out your groceries or sacking your groceries. It's who you show up as in the world at all times, because we have choices about that. And the more we show up in a positive way, the more the positivity comes back to us, because that's what this quantum field is about. This quantum field is about what I put out, the energy that I put out into this quantum field is the exact energy I'm going to get back. We think our life is random, because for thousands of years, that's what everybody thought. Like I said, it wasn't until 1945 that we began to realize this intention. So for thousands of years, we thought it was a random world. We thought we were victims. And then we realized scientifically, there's a principle, there's a law in this universe that tells us there's nothing accidental in our lives. Life happens. And it's not, sometimes not what we choose. Many times it's not what we choose. But it's how we choose to deal with what life deals So the first thing we have to do, we have to be conscious. I have to be conscious of what I'm thinking. I have to notice when I'm thinking something negative. I have to notice when I'm in this place where, man, I'm just down and out today, and I'm thinking, okay, that's the energy you're gonna get back, and so pay attention. So we have to be conscious of the energy that we're putting out into this quantum field, and switch it. If it's a negative, don't beat yourself up about it. Just turn it around and make it a positive. But we can't do that if we're not conscious of it. We're not paying attention. You ever notice every once in a while you wake up and you think, I'm thinking, and when we wake up, you can be wide awake, but it comes to you that you are being negative about something and you weren't even aware of it. At that moment, turn it around. Make it a positive and remind yourself that when I put out into this quantum field, it's what I'm going to get back. And what do I want to get back in my life? I want to get positivity and happiness and joy and friends and good health and all the things that being positive brings us. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago about Norman Cousins. If you don't know about Norman Cousins, you got to read his book. Norman Cousins was an author, and he got cancer, and it was a cancer that he was told he wouldn't live. And he decided that he was going to cure his cancer with laughter. So he would get Marx Brother movies, and he would watch Marx Brother movies all week long because he thought they were hysterical. And when he would go to the hospital, he would take his Marx Brother movies with him. And they said that the hospital got so tired of him laughing out loud down the hall, and all the people who were sad from all the cancer and all that didn't like to hear him laugh, so they made him go home. How dare he laugh through his illness? However, he lived to be 70. I think this happened in his 50s, and he lived to be 70. So we can't take lightly the gifts we've been given and the creativity that awaits us if we are just tuned into it and conscious of it. And so what we have to be conscious of, because how we deal in this quantum soup we swim in, this quantum field, is our energy comes from our words, our thoughts, our actions, and the energy that we put out into the world. So we have to be careful. We have to be conscious of what we're saying and thinking and doing and how we're showing up if we want to have positive coming back to us. And to remember, life is not random. That from moment to moment, I'm creating in some way what is happening to me. So when I can create consciously, again, don't beat yourself up, just notice where you're creating something you don't want, and turn it around to a positive, to an affirmation. That's why Unity is so set on our affirmations and our positive prayers. It's because we know that brings positivity back to us at all times. We work at remembering that there's power in our words, in our thoughts, and that our words and thoughts have to be used to affirm and not deny our greatness. How many of you deny your greatness? How many of you think ill of yourselves or badly of yourselves or talk down to yourselves? How many call yourselves stupid? I've done it, but at least now I pay attention. It's like the minute I hear myself being unkind to myself, I turn it around and I change it into a positive at that moment. Because I realized that was an unconscious thought I've had, and that's a thought that does not serve any of us ever. So being conscious of what we think and how we act and the energy we put out, we have to be sure it's working in our favor at all times. We have to remember that we are great. We have the potential to be so great, and we don't credit ourselves with that. We don't tell ourselves. You know, do you get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how great you are? No, we all, you know, I don't. I try to remember sometime, but we all feel like that's a little egotistical, but it's not. Because honestly, we are greater. You and I were created to be greater than anything we have yet imagined. So no matter how powerful you think you are, or what you think you have the potential to become, I can tell you that you're far more powerful than you could ever imagine. So we have to be attuned and in tune for our minds to even remotely achieve the full power that the universe has bestowed upon us. Because it's in us, and many times it's latent, it's in there waiting for us to awaken to it and to access it and to create from it. Because we all have access, and we all have that molecule of greatness in us. It's the gift that we've all been given. And what this means in your daily life is nothing short of miraculous, because it means that anything that you can conceive of is actually within your grasp. Have you ever thought of something that you wanted to do that was bigger than you thought you could do it, so you just kind of let it go because you didn't think you could do it? That's not the truth. If you can conceive it, you can believe it, and if you can believe it, you can create it. That's the gift we've been given. And the other gifts we've been given, they're part of the instructions for this, are to remember we have choice and we have free will. I get to choose whether I use my gift or not. How many of you get a gift and you put it in the drawer and you forget all about that you had it? We don't want to do that with our gifts. We want to get them out every day and brush them off and think of the ways that we can use the gifts that we've been given to make ourselves a better life, but make the world a better place. We're being called to influence not just our own good fortune, but good fortune of the world around us. We're bigger than just ourselves. And I want to acknowledge Susan for that. Susan, you make this world shine in so many ways, and your creativity with your flowers and your gifts of your flowers out from your heart make the world such a better place, and I just want to acknowledge you for that. It's amazing, and you're amazing, and we're grateful for you. We thank you for that you consciously create something better for those around you. So I just want you to acknowledge that. Those of us who come to a place like this every Sunday, they call us seekers. And those of us who are seekers, who are seeking the truth, who are coming to see what is not only the truth, but my truth. You have something in you that is wanting to be bigger. And that's why you come here. That's why you go to a place like a New Thought Church. It's because you know there's something more, and you know it's there for you. And so this is who we are as seekers. We want to leave humanity in some way, all of us, I bet I could go around the room and ask each one of you, and each one of you want to leave the humanity in some way so that humanity's better after you were there, after you were gone, than before you came. And I'm not giving you any lofty rhetoric. This is absolutely who we are created to be. We have, each and every one of us has the capacity to change the world. And I think in some way we all want to do that. And in every little corner of your own world, you have the capacity to change the world. And I'm going to acknowledge Marianne Carr for that. She tries everywhere she goes to make the world a better place and to say something kind to somebody and to turn somebody's negativity around before she leaves. And so my hat's off to you, Marianne, for that. It's just, you know, wherever we are, wherever we're planted, we bloom right there. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to be Marianne Marcy or Jean Houston or, you know, wherever we are, if we have the intention and the consciousness to create a better world right where we are at that moment, we have done something big. We've made the world a better place because we were there. And I think it's a mission in all your lives. I think that's why Darlene does her Tuesday meditations, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could be doing on Tuesdays, and your meditation for your singing bowls. And so, what is your singing bowls for next Sunday? Is 4 o'clock next Sunday, and it's for the
new moon in Capricorn.
Okay.
For setting intentions.
So that's next Sunday at 4, and then next. What is next Sunday?
The second.
The second. I'm trying to figure all this out. We're going to do the burning bowl for that Sunday morning. So that'll be a day. We'll do the burning bowl that Sunday morning, and then we'll do your bowls that afternoon. So it'll be a great Sunday. You want to mark your calendar for that. So you are sitting here ready to be tapped by the universe for whatever it is that you bring, for whatever potential that you have in this lifetime, to source something greater in yourself. It doesn't have to be, like I said, you don't have to be Picasso, you know, just whatever you do that makes the world smile and be a better place it shifts the energy for everybody else. You know, David Hawkins wrote a book called Power versus Force, and he has a paragraph in that book that it just stood out for me and I'll never forget it. He said, when you change, and I don't know if he's right or not, but he said, when you change your own energy and you create a different energy of positivity around yourself, you create a different energy for 42,000 people around you. Now, if it was 4,200, it would still be amazing. So we don't realize the power that we have. So we want to watch about every thought we think. We want to watch about all the words that we speak. We want to let go of any negativity and turn it into positivity. And remind ourselves that when I am negative, I'm going to get negative back. And Mary Morrissey and all of her teachings say that when we're paying attention like that, being conscious of who we're being at the moment, that we have to stand guard at the portal of our mind. To stand guard at the portal of our mind, pay attention to what our mind is thinking, and ask ourselves at that moment, is that what I want to draw back to me? And if it's not something I want to draw back to me, I have to change it right that minute. So, in this instruction book, of your creative fulfillment, we want to look at what is it you'd like to change in your own life. You know, this is the how-to part. So the how-to part is to realize that you have the capability to change your health, your relationships, your finances, your career. And when you write all that down, you then get to choose what's the one I want to work on first. What's the part of my life that I want to work on first? Is it my health? Would I like to be healthier? Do I need to pay more attention about what I say or do, about what I eat? How do I change my health if this is what my goal is? And begin to notice that and write it down in all the different ways, and that you can do things differently to change your health. If it's relationships, you have to look at your relationships. How did I contribute to the last relationship? What may I have done differently? Because in relationship, we're always relating to another person. They're always relating to us. We're putting out and we're getting back. So in my relationships, if there's something in some place and someone that I need to have a better relationship with, I have to look at me. You see, what we have to learn about our relationships is, especially if you are writing down what you want in a relationship, you have to realize if you write down things on the paper that you want in a relationship, you have to be that. You have to be that, because being that is going to draw back to you that. So it's not just about wanting, you know, your Prince Charming or your Princess Charming to come along and fulfill all of your desires. It's about, am I that? Am I that? Because if I'm not that, I'm not going to attract that back. So we have to look at our relationships and be conscious of our relationships and how we are showing up in every relationship we have. And then if it doesn't work for us, we get to change ourselves and draw to us the positivity that we want. Our finances, you know, some people have no problem with finances. Money just comes. Others of us do not. So if we have issues with our finances, what are we thinking about our finances? What is my thought process about my finances? Do I have that old thing about money doesn't grow on trees? You know, all those negativity sayings that we were raised with, is that hampering us from being as prosperous as we could be? What are the negative thoughts we're feeding ourselves about our finances? And just notice it, pay attention to it, and change it. One of the things we do when I'm teaching the prosperity class is I teach people to draw a line down the middle of the page. And on the left-hand side of that line, to write down every belief you had or heard from your parents growing up, anything that influenced your relationship to money when you were growing up. And on the right side of that line down the paper, write down what you'd like it to be. Turn that negativity that you see, that you grew up with, into a positive affirmation on the other side of the line. You would be amazed at how many negative things we were raised with, and how they're just kind of back there in the back of our mind, and they influence us today. And if we're dealing with career, now most of you have gotten beyond your career age, but maybe not. You know, I've decided I'm going to have a career till I die. So what do I think about my careers? What is my belief about career? So if you are wondering about your career, you have to look at, what is it I think? What am I thinking? What am I planning? What am I doing? And if it looks negative, or it looks like it's not an advantage to you, you can change it. And because the consciousness, what am I thinking right now, is the key. So let's see, where am I in this? This all boils down to belief. What do I believe? What is my belief? Let me pay attention to what I believe. What I believe about relationships. Is there some deep core thing that in my belief system that keeps me from having a successful relationship? What are my beliefs? Once I can identify my beliefs, I can change them. It's when I'm unconscious about them, or they're in my subconscious, that they keep driving my bus. You know what I mean? They keep have me in the same spot. So what are my beliefs in any of these areas? What do I believe about finances, money? What do I believe about relationships? What do I believe about health and career? I know growing up, I had my aunt and my mom kind of were hypochondriacs growing up. One day I was talking to my cousin, we were in our 20s, and my cousin was saying she had a headache all the time, and it was her mother that was the hypochondriac. And I said to her, do you realize that we're doing the same thing our parents are doing? We're believing all the time that we have to be sick. I said, I've made up my mind, I'm never gonna be sick again. And she went, oh, that's a great idea. I think I'll make up my mind to never have another headache. And I want you to know, we made up our mind about that. And both of us, I mean, she lived to be 92. She just died last year during COVID. And when I go see a doctor and they have you fill out all the things that have been wrong with you in your life, they look at it and go, did you fill this out? Yeah, I filled it out. Haven't had any surgery, haven't had any of these other diseases. But it's the belief system we want to create, and it's how we want to create our lives. We get to do that. That's the joy, that's the gift that we've been given, is that we get to do that. So, to change, to have choice, to have free will, to know that we are much more powerful than we think we are, and that we don't have anything we have that we don't like going on in our lives. We can change it. What a gift. What an amazing gift that is. So my desire for every one of you today is to open this gift of creativity that you've been given. Every day, look at it, be conscious of it, moment to moment. What am I thinking at this moment? Is the thought I'm thinking at this moment going to serve me in a positive way? And as you begin to do that, you will find that you have unlimited, amazing good showing up in your lives in so many areas of your life, because that's what you put out into that corner for you. So that's my desire for each and every one of you as you go into this new year of 2022, to be conscious of the gifts you've been given, and be conscious of the creativity you have to either make more of it or change it and make it exactly what you want. So let's take that into a moment of instruction and thought processes. Just may want to lay things aside and just think for a moment in your own life. There's something in all of our lives that we are struggling with. Every one of us has it. So what is it for you? Whatever it is for you, begin to think right now, what are the negative thoughts that I've been carrying around about this in my life? Whether it's my health, whether it's my finances, whether it's my relationships, my career, whatever it is, think of some negative thought that's been in your mind that has guided you through your life up until this moment. And when you've identified that negativity, turn it around from a negative to a positive. Remind yourself of your ability to create something different. The ability in this moment to create something different. And in this moment that you can say to yourself that unlimited, amazing good awaits me. In your mind right now, say this to yourself. Unlimited, amazing good awaits me. I can create whatever I choose. Say that in your mind to yourself. I can create whatever I choose. And I consciously choose to create love and life and joy. Consciously choose to create love and life and joy. And I give thanks for the creative ideas and gifts that I've been given. I give thanks that I now know that whatever I want to change in my life, I can change. And so I begin today making my list, looking at what I would like to be different, looking at the ways that I can think positively and affirmatively in this area of my life. And I give thanks. This is the gift that I have been given. So it is. Amen.
So
together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Blessings, Happy New Year, have a great week, see you next Sunday.